Hello, good afternoon to you. The General Secretary of the RMT, Mick Cash, is sitting opposite me right now and can stay for how long, Mick?
Ooh.
As long as you like.
Yes.
30 minutes at least. Get your calls in now if you want to talk to him about the tube strike. Anything else that strikes you, perhaps the Labour leadership contest. He's made it clear to his members that he wants them to support Jeremy Corbyn in that contest. You can watch the interview, listen to it. You can watch it live, lbc.co.uk. We'll talk about the tube strikes, the one that's been, the one to come, still scheduled to go ahead, and perhaps get Mick Cash to defend some of the pain it caused all of us at the time. Fingers crossed it can be resolved. You never know. Oh, 0345 6060 973 is the number to call if you want to talk to Mick Cash, General Secretary of the RMT, here with us on LBC till 2:30. You can watch it live as well at lbc.co.uk. You can text 84850 or tweet at LBC. So first things first, let's bring ourselves up to date, Mick, if we could, on the talks. You paused them. You were in talks with ASLEF, weren't you? ACAS, sorry. You paused them to go to see the office for the rail regulator. Tell us why.
Oh, well, we had some concerns about how London Underground are operating the train services, some safety concerns, which were reported to the safety regulator. And the regulator said he wanted to talk with our reps about our concerns and see where to take it forward from that. And that's what we had to do. The same team of reps and full-time officials dealing with the ACAS talks were talking to the regulator.
Now, the ORR said that you could have waited to do that and let the ACAS talks continue. You say what to that?
That's not the impression I got.
Well, go on, tell me why.
Well, our full-time officer, when he got the call, said, you've got serious safety concerns. I want to interview you and your reps. And if they're serious safety concerns, we shouldn't wait, should we?
They have to respond and you have to respond.
Indeed.
London Underground says that they've had all their safety aspects signed off. It's all good to go.
Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? We're in a situation at the moment where we've got train drivers being sent home, which is escalating the dispute as we speak today, because we've got a situation where proper safety checks, as far as they're concerned, are not being done on the trains before they're due to go out. As far as we're concerned, sometimes when you get disputes, you have employers seem to water down the provisions that they'd normally apply, and that's what's happening in these circumstances.
And if they are doing that, are they doing that because of the work to rule the overtime ban ongoing?
Yes, indeed, it is having an impact. But our train drivers, want to make sure that before they take that train out, properly qualified staff are checking the trains to make sure it's safe to do so. That's why they have that procedure in place, and that's not happening at this moment in time. So rightly so, they're questioning whether the train should run.
For those people listening who experienced the tube strike a few weeks ago at the beginning of the month and are facing the next one on August the 5th, if it's not resolved by then, tell them what your beef is. Just remind us. Well,
I mean, this is a position where we didn't want to be here. I think it's worth going back a bit of history, actually. October, September 2013, that's well over a year ago, 18 months ago, the London Underground announced the fact that they were going to get rid of 800 frontline staff by closing booking offices. But at the same time, a bit of smokes and mirrors here. What got the headlines was the fact they were going to introduce the night tube. And then, obviously, as you know, we had all the concerns around the campaign to keep booking offices open, keep stations properly staffed, but nothing was done really about the night tube. And then suddenly we find, beginning of this year, almost a year after the event, London Underground want to talk to us about the night tube and about implementing it from September. It's quite clear that they haven't got the resources to actually deliver it. For us and our members, is about a work-life balance. They're asking them to increase the amount of time they spend at work. I mean, I had an example said to me today about one member of staff in one area where they will, at the moment in time, they do 1 in 4 weekends. In future, they'll be doing only have one in 4 weekends off. In future, they'll only have 1 in 27 weekends off. So you can see it's a big impact on our members. So the work-life balance is crucial, and that's why we're having a dispute. But we shouldn't be here. I mean, why was it left so late to sit down and talk about such a very difficult issue? And that's a question for London Underground at the end of the day.
I've just spent a whole hour talking to nurses and former nurses who would look at the working deal that your union has managed to get for your workers over the years and think, God, stop moaning, you've got it made.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to make sure that we get the best possible paying conditions for our members. And what we've got here is an employer who turns around and wants to not only, are committed to actually working and ensuring that the tube network operates. When 7/7 happened, it was our members, along with nurses, hospital ambulance workers, firefighters, who actually delivered, made sure that we dealt with that very difficult circumstances. And what our members have been asked to do is increase the amount of work and the rostering that they do, and it's been imposed upon them. It's not been through proper discussion. So, we have to try and take a stand. It's important that we do that not only for our members, but also for the future of the Tube network.
And I'm conscious in interviews like this and conversations like this, when talks are still ongoing, or the possibility of talks are still ongoing, you will naturally be reserved in what you'll tell me. But what you'll say about what the RMT is looking for. But what's the bare minimum that you want here?
Well,
2 weekends a month.
I think at the end of the day, we want to have a proper work-life balance for our members. We want the company to sit down and resource that. This is a company that's cut back.
You mean you'll do the weekends, you want more money for it, or you want to do fewer weekends?
It's actually about time offers as much as anything else. Why the company in such a all-fired rush to get this in, other than it was a deadline set by the current mayor? Why didn't they delay it? Why didn't they look at sitting down and introducing, having proper discussions, seeing how we properly resource it to make sure people get proper time off, and without having to go into this, but they've sought to impose it, and that's why we ended up in balloting.
Given how huge the impact is on the general public when these strikes end up happening and the situation isn't resolved, what do you make of what Zac Goldsmith, one of the Tory mayoral candidates, suggesting that the public be allowed into the negotiations between the unions and TfL bosses? That we're a big part of the picture, aren't we?
Well, indeed, and rightly so, because at the end of the day, it's the travelling public who ensure that the future of our members and the security of the work they get, and also the future of the Tube network. I don't know what it is having an audience. It's not like one of those TV shows or live shows that you see. What that would do to the negotiations, that would be interesting dynamics. But
you'd be happy to give it a go?
I think it would be interesting dynamics.
Get Jeremy Kylan.
Yeah, it'd be interesting dynamics. Have a talk show host dealing with stuff around negotiations on sometimes very difficult issues. I'm not certain it is the right way, to be honest with you.
I wonder whether Zac Goldsmith was serious about it or not. I don't know.
I suppose he was.
Well, who knows? So what next then? The talks with ACAS were paused. Are they back on, or are they due to come back on?
I believe there's further discussions to take place.
About them resuming?
I'm not actually in the discussions per se. Our officers are dealing with that, and we're in constant contact with ACAS to try and make sure we sit down and work through all the issues associated with this. See if we can come up with
But the assumption is that even though there was that pause, that they will resume?
There is, yeah, indeed, yeah.
Okay. Can I ask you about the political aspect of something you've said recently to your members? You're a union that doesn't have an affiliation to a political party, neither the Labour Party nor any other, but you've been explicit with your members about who you want them to support. In the Labour leadership contest, you want them to support the left-wing candidate, as he's being dubbed, Jeremy Corbyn. Tell me why.
Well, I don't know if it's left or right. It depends where the centre ground is. Decide what left or right is. A lot of people.
He's left of the other three. That's for sure.
Everything's relative. If left is being somebody who wants someone to have decent pensions, decent homes, decent standard of living, then we're all left, aren't we? The reality is that.
Don't all four of them want that?
Well, again, that's why I said it's just saying left and right is actually not that simple. What we want is a society that we could all be proud to live in, and we want to be able to have money in our pockets, enjoy our lives and whatnot, and not have all these austerity policies attacking ordinary working people. And Jeremy Corbyn is actually at the front of the debate around anti-austerity and whether there's an alternative to austerity, which there must be.
How do you urge members? Do you ring them? Do you chat to them? Is it just in the form of a press release, the like of which I saw, or is it more than that? Do you as a union have a policy where members are more than encouraged to vote for a particular leader, even though you're not affiliated to Labour? At
the end of the day, I'm a Labour Party member. I've been a Labour Party member since 1982.
You didn't join 5 minutes ago.
I didn't join 5 minutes ago. I joined because actually the Labour Party in 1982, when we were in dispute with British Rail at those days, they encouraged us to fight for rail workers at the time, and actually allowed them to use their headquarters as a strike headquarters. And I thought, this is a party for me that wants to fight for ordinary working people, and that's the party I want to see again.
What about those RMT members who either left the Labour Party or weren't members of the Labour Party. Are you urging them to quickly sign up and vote for Corbyn? Because this is the kind of thing that Harriet Harman and co say is quite cynical.
Well, I don't know if it's cynical. People have been asked to sign up as supporters. Our annual conference this year agreed to support Jeremy Corbyn, and we're not saying to people, you must do something. We're saying this is a person who's fighting austerity within the Labour Party, wants to promote progressive policies. Therefore, if you wish to, support his campaign. It might sometimes not be just around signing up as a supporter. It could be just giving donations or other help. We're opening up our membership to that idea. Whether they want to is entirely up to the members. I mean, I should be voting for Jeremy.
But you, as an active member of the party and as the leader of the union, are you encouraging people to go back to the party to join it in order that Jeremy Corbyn win?
We're not actively encouraging members to join the Labour Party.
Do you know people who have? I mean,
there might be some people who've joined. There might be some people who've joined as supporters.
I'm just curious if it's
not necessarily. No, I haven't bumped into someone recently who said I've joined.
So you're not getting a sense of a groundswell of RMT members rejoining the Labour Party? No,
I'm not getting a groundswell. I mean, our policy is that we support politicians who support us, and that's why we support Jeremy and other Labour politicians as well as Green politicians.
Are you happy that this explicit support that you're giving for the for Jeremy Corbyn, that you're urging your union to give and your members to give, puts you firmly in the same camp as, say, the Socialist Party, former militant tendency? Happy with that lot? I'm
happy that we're at the forefront of fighting austerity and actually promoting somebody who's promoting an alternative to austerity, because I think that's what we need.
But they say, don't they, you can judge a person by the company they keep. And do you think, well, are you concerned about some of the groups that are supporting Jeremy Corbyn? Should he be concerned about some of the groups? I mean, the militant tendency, as it was called, was essentially cleansed from the Labour Party in the 80s and 90s by Neil Kinnock and others. Is that what Labour wants to return to?
Well, I don't judge people by the company they keep. I judge people by what they do, and that's what I judge the Labour Party on. I'm still a member of it. I judge the Tories on that. I judge the Green parties on it. And that's what I think we should do. We should have political parties that reflect the people they support. And the Tories are there for the powerful and rich, and the Labour Party should be there for ordinary working people. And at this moment in time, they've lost the confidence of ordinary working people.
OK, well, we'll go to your calls in just a few minutes, Mick. Thanks for now. Mick Cash, General Secretary of the RMT, here to take your calls. 0345 606 0973 is the number to call. You can text 84850 or tweet at LBC. Mick Cash, General Secretary of the RMT, is here to take your calls and to talk to us about the forthcoming strike, still scheduled to take place on August the 5th. Tim's called from Edgware. Hi, Tim.
Hi there.
What did you want to say?
I just had a question for Mick, actually. As somebody who regularly uses the tube and is, horrendously inconvenienced when his members decide to strike, I just wanted to put a question to him, which is as follows. It seems to me that the RMT believes that in order to make their point, in order that they make the point where they have a complaint, that they think it's okay to inconvenience us, their customers, in order to make their point. So I just wanted to ask him whether he would support us, the customers, if we decided that we had a complaint that they were striking. Would he support us, the customers, if we, for example, decided to refuse to serve RMT workers in our shops and in our businesses? Not out of anything other than simply that we have a complaint and we're going to make the point to them the same way that they make the point to us. To me, that would seem the same. I'm quite confident that Mick Cash will come out with a load of drivel now saying why it's different. But of course it's the same.
Well, should we let him answer and we can decide between ourselves if it's drivel or not? Just a sec, Tim. Go on, Mick.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry that you're inconvenienced, and our job is not to try and inconvenience. Can I just say the RMT is joined by 4 other trade unions in this dispute. We've got ASLEF, Train Drivers Union, TSSA and Unite, and we're all very, very concerned about the proposals that London Underground are seeking to impose upon our members. Therefore, we're doing what we think is right in the circumstances. Can I also say to you, the RMT's DNA is in the Tube network, and the Tube network's DNA is in us, because we've been looking after this network for as long as years as we've been a trade union. Ever since the Tube's been around, we've had representative members there. So we've firmly committed to the Tube network and to its future. But that doesn't mean we just go away and shut up when management come along with some stupid ideas.
Tim?
Can I just come back on that? Yeah, you said that the firmly committed to the tube. As far as I'm concerned, there are many, many different ways to protest, and it's perfectly clear that you simply look at inconvenience customers as your chosen, favoured way of protesting. If you are firmly committed to the tube, if you're firmly committed to the customers, and every single customer that I ever speak to, my colleagues who are travelling in, we're all of a very clear, simple, basic opinion, which is that somehow unions like yours seem to think that they carry the public support, when in fact we hate you for doing it. We hate you for doing it.
All right, Tim, you've had your moment. Let's just respond, if you would, to Tim suggesting that that's not your person, that it's the union's favoured response to strike.
Well, it isn't. And the point I made earlier on, if you were listening, was the fact that these proposals are seeking to impose some clear changes on our members were first tabled by the company back in 2013, and yet they've left it to lastminute.com to try and impose it upon us. So what do you do in those circumstances? And we're trying desperately to make sure we don't inconvenience the travelling public any more than we need to. But we need to get the company, the management, to listen, and that's why we're taking the action we're taking.
OK, thank you for your call, Tim in Edgware. Let's talk to Jack, who's in Woking. Hi, Jack.
Hi, how's it going?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for calling. What was your question to Mick Cash?
My question to you, Mick, is why do you and the train union deserve a pay rise when the trains continue to be late, people continue to be late to work, and it doesn't seem like the union's efficiency is going up? So why should your pay rise? Why should your pay increase?
Well, I mean, everybody deserves a pay rise, and that's not my words, that's David Cameron's words. And our job as a trade union is to look after the interest of our members as well as the people that we serve, and that's what we're trying to do in these circumstances. You talk about why should we? I mean, 4 million people use the tube every day. 1.3 billion passenger journeys are done. That's a huge amount of people moving around the network, and that's down to the efforts of our members. Because if things are late, if there's problems, that more often not down to our members, it's more down to the underinvestment in the system. And that's what I would say to you in terms of whether we deserve pay rises or not. We certainly do a good job for people of London.
Jack?
Well, my thoughts on it are that when I go to get the tube in the morning, my trains are still delayed. You know, I don't see people should have their pay increased when the minor things that need to be done, like getting people to work in the morning, can't be. So why? I just don't understand why you should have a pay increase.
Who do you put first, Mick Cash? Your members or the customers?
Well, it's equal measures. You know, at the end of the day, we're the two sides of the same coin. You've got to try and make sure that you look after the industries that you operate, but also you look after our members.
Thousands upon thousands of people had a really tough day. Yeah. I mean, I shared a cab with a woman who was standing at a bus stop on crutches, and I invited her into the cab. She had a hospital appointment she wasn't going to be able to make, and that would have been replicated again and again and again. Yeah,
but again, at the end of the day, this is a situation where, not of our making, we're having change imposed upon us, so work-life balance changes, which are going to be particularly difficult for our members. The whole process of what they're doing with the night tube, I don't think, and our members don't think, has been thought through. So some of this is also about making sure that the London Underground management and the mayor get it right, and we don't think they have got it right.
Let's get a question from Ares in Walthamstow. Hi, Ares.
Oh, hello. Yes. Hello, Sheila. Hello, Mick. Just a quick question for Mick. I would like to know if it's okay for him to explain what is his opinion about Marxism or Marxist-Leninism. That's it. Yeah.
It's not a small question, Aris, but have a go. Have a go, Mick. What's my opinion of it? I don't... well, I'll have to read up on that if you want. I've come here to...
You don't espouse Marxism, do you?
I'm a trade union leader representing workers. Now, if you want to give me labels associated, well, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm here to represent workers.
Why can't the unions shake off that image that so many have, rightly or wrongly, that that there is this kind of rabid element of leftism in it? I mean, they're not my, well, they are my words I'm speaking to, but you know what I mean. The labels that people throw at you all the time. Is there a PR job to be done in trade unionism?
People have ideas that they dig out from the past and say what's left and right, and what we're trying to do is do right by our members. I prefer to see things as right and wrong, not left and right.
Simon in Maidstone. Hi, Simon.
Hi there.
Question for Mick.
Yeah, hello, Mick. The thing that I've thought about is that there's going to be an inevitability to the march of sort of technology. And I would say in 20 years there's going to be automation on the tube and driverless trains. And where's that going to leave your members? Because unfortunately I think you've just set the public against you. And they will just say, well, we welcome automation, we welcome driverless trains because we're not prepared to be held hostage by the union anymore. Just as Derek Robinson with Leyland saw everything go wrong and Arthur Scargill with miners, I just feel that sooner or later you're going to lose this, you know.
Well, I mean, I've been around in this industry since 1978. I joined a railway in 1979. I've seen a lot of change and technology change. And we as trade unions have adapted to change over the years, going back to when the railways first started running in the 1830s. But we're in that situation, I think, where you talk about driverless trains. That's one thing that frightens the life out of me. I go on the tube, particularly these deep tubes. Having nobody on driving that train would worry me because I think that would be inherently unsafe. So whilst automation and technology might look good in some respects, I have to say I think it's a frightening prospect if you're going to be there on a train full of passengers with nobody in charge and in control.
Well, the DLR works.
It's overground mostly, and it's not the same as being in those deep tunnels, as you know.
But do you think it's a kind of it's setting a precedent, isn't it? That could be adapted to, could be followed. Is that a big concern of yours?
Well, I'm concerned about how if you take it to the ultimate extreme, you'd have nobody on the platform, you'd have nobody on the train, you'd just have one central mind, and it wouldn't be a human being, by the way. You'd have a computer looking after everybody. Would that make it any safer? I don't think that's the case. You need people on platforms, you need people on trains to look after the passengers because there's huge amounts of people. I mean, the population of London is going to grow to about 10 million people. There's a huge amount of travel on the tube, and that needs people to make sure it's done safely.
Final call from Rob in Hammersmith before we say goodbye, and thank you. Rob in Hammersmith, fire away.
Hi, can you ask my question? How can you accept a pay rise when you're closing and getting rid of all your trained staff on the platforms? I think it's putting a lot of people at risk.
Well, I agree with you, and we've been fighting a campaign to get rid of to stop the London Underground, who are making cuts. They've got huge cuts to be made, driven by the government. That's driving the cuts to the station staff and the booking offices, and actually creating the difficulty now that they haven't got enough staff to resource this night tube and weekend working. They're making that decision. That's the fight we're fighting now.
Can I ask you, just before we go, Mick, is there still hope here that by August the 5th we'll all be getting on a tube to work in the morning and you'll have resolved this, or at least got some kind of beginnings of a resolution that will allow you to call off that strike?
Well, I think that's down in the hands of Boris Johnson.
It's in both sets of hands.
Both Boris Johnson and in the hands of the London Underground management. They could delay the implementation of Night Tube and let us discuss the proper implementation of it, the proper resourcing of it. But I don't think they want to do that because they haven't got enough money to resource it, and that's the fundamental problem.
So you don't seem to have made a scintilla of progress since the last strike, and prior to that, because obviously it still went ahead. If this one goes ahead and then the next one and then the next one, you're bringing London to its knees on a regular basis.
Yeah, but not for the want of trying to resolve it. I mean, let's understand this. The night tube, we think, has got some real fundamental problems with it. It is about work-life balance, but it's also about how it's going to operate in practice. It is also about making sure that there's enough resources to deliver it. And unless the Mayor and London Underground tackle those fundamental problems, we are going to have a problem. I'd rather be here talking about this and then something worse. And we've had worse in the tube network in the past, and in on the trains in the overground. I'd rather be doing that than be in the situation where we're talking about some sort of catastrophe because of what's happened.
Can you offer them anything? You're saying that it's in their hands, but talks are about two sides. Can you offer them anything?
Well, I can offer that we'll have an open mind if they were open and if they were prepared to look at some reasonable alternatives to what they're proposing at this moment in time, rather than seeking to impose it.
All right, thanks very much indeed. Mick Cash, General Secretary of the RMT, for coming in, talking to us and taking the calls as well from LBC listeners. Many thanks.
And they are understandably furious because I think the thing is ridiculous, and it is
what exactly is ridiculous, Mr. Mayor?
Strike. And I think the proposal for industrial action, which I hope very much will be withdrawn, I do hope that